Hello, grammar world. Okay, today we are talking about verbs, specifically linking verbs. So first, let's start with the definition of a verb. A verb is a word, and this I'm just reading from the definition on the screen, is a word that expresses its subject's action or a state of being. And its is possessive here. And that's very important to remember because the verb and the subject are linked together. One belongs to the other. The subject belongs to the verb belongs to the subject. One needs the other to survive. So, if you can find the subject of a sentence, you can find the verb. If you can find the verb of a sentence, you can find the subject because they will be linked. Even words that have even sentences that only have one word, such as stop, right? Stop. There's an implied you there. So you stop. So the verb and the subject will always be linked. Okay, let's look at a linking verb. Now, a linking verb is one of the two types of verbs. There's action verbs and there's linking verbs. Now, a linking verb connects or links the subject to a word or word group, and it does two different things here. One, it can identify the subject, noun, and noun comes from the word nomen, right? Latin means name, and that's what a subject does. It names. That's what a noun does. It names something. Or the verb is going to be linking the subject to an adjective. It's going to be linking it to something that describes the subject. So the way I tell my students is think of linking verbs as an equal sign. Think of it as where you have the subject and equals, and it's either going to equal a noun or an adjective, and this little equal sign, that is the verb. This subject is going to be this thing. This subject is going to be this thing. All right. You'll see in a second why that makes sense. So English class is amazing. So if we can find the subject, which would be English class, technically it'd just be class, but let's just go with the compound thing here. So is the verb. That's what English class is, and English class is being linked to amazing. It is in the state of being amazing. And when you're looking at linking verbs, they will often, when you're drawing their parts out there that are linking, it'll often look like a bug's antenna, which is kind of cute here. So we have English class is in the state of amazing, right? So this is essentially an equal sign. English class equals amazing. The students remained quiet. So we have students is the subject, remained is the verb, and so remained is linking subjects to the state of being quiet, right? This is an adjective. This is an adjective. All right, I am amazed. They are still excited. So I, subject, am is the verb, and so we're going to link I to the state of amazed, which is an adjective. So that's the linking verb there. They is the second subject, and are is the verb. And so are they is being linked to the state of being excited. They are excited. So we have this state of they equals excited and I equals amazed. The students equaled quiet. Okay, now let's look at them as if they're nouns. Or not just nouns, but you're identifying the subject. I am the teacher. So we have the subject, and am is the verb. And so I is linked to the state of being the teacher. This noun is identifying what I am. So we have the subject, you, and you are. You are what? And so we have you, and you are the student. Student is a noun. And so student is saying what you equals. You equals student. Again, identifying what you is. So they will be the class. So will be is the verb here. Now this is a verb phrase, but still acts as a single verb. And they is the subject, and the class is the noun. Now this is a quick hint. We'll talk about this later. But anytime you have an article modifying something else, that something else is always going to be a noun, because the is an adjective. That's the only thing that adjectives do, is modify nouns. So let's go on to the next thing here. The verb be. Now, most linking verbs are going to be some form of the verb be. It's very, very common. And having this little list of be words makes it very easy to find a linking verb in a sentence. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. It kind of rolls off the tongue. I know it's not in alphabetical order, but this is an easy way to remember it. Now, these other forms of be, these are with their helping verbs. So will be, can be. This whole thing is acting like the verb. These two words together are the verb. So you could have an enormous verb, should have been. And we will talk about this when we hit verb phrases. So let's look at the trickier forms, the trickier linking verbs. Linking verbs can take the form of senses: feel, look, sound, smell, taste, touch. Or they might be other linking verbs, and these can be, both of these groups here, can take the form of action verbs or linking verbs, except for two of them. Become and seem are always linking. But the other ones, students constantly have to struggle. Is this an action verb or is this a linking verb? So let's look at some in context. So, I feel full with knowledge. So, again, feel is the verb, and it's linking I and full. Now, students might ask, well, wait a minute, that seems like an action verb, feel, because I feel the rust. What do I feel? The rust. The difference here is that when you feel full of knowledge, you're not describing an action. You're describing a state of being, the state of being full, while here you're describing literally the tactile sensation of rust. So that's an action, that's a linking verb. This town smells funny. Smells is the linking verb, linking town to the state of being, the state of smelling funny. It's describing the way the town smells. It is not describing the action of smelling. She smells the roses. This is an action verb because it's describing literally what she's doing. She's smelling the roses. This, the town is not smelling. It doesn't have some giant nose that is pulling in air. And so while this is a linking verb, so describing the state of being funny or the state of smelling funny, this is describing the action of inhaling the aroma from the roses. I grow weary of this conversation. So I grow and I grow weary. I am linking I to the state of being weary. Now, grow can be an action verb. She grows corn, right? So it's telling what she is doing. Now, this isn't linking these two things. It's telling what she is doing. She is growing corn. This, you can't grow weary. It's not a crop. It isn't something that springs forth from the ground. You look excited when you look at my etchings. You look excited. This is in the state of describing the subject, right? In the state of looking excited. And that's a linking verb. This, you look at my etchings. This is describing something that you are doing. You are looking, using your eyes to look at etchings. So let's have a recap here. So verbs can be both action and linking, but we're talking about linking verbs. And linking verbs act like an equal sign. They are connecting the subject to either an adjective or to a state of being. And if in that state of being, you're either identifying the subject if it's a noun, or you're describing the subject if it's an adjective. And you have to be careful what type of verb it is. Thank you.